Okay, today what we're going to talk about is a 401k loan. And what I'm going to do is walk you through the process of, first off, the rule of thumb of how to take one, if you're eligible to take one, and then walk you through the advantages and the disadvantages of taking a 401k loan. Before we get started, please like and subscribe below. Now, the process to take these 401k loans is going to differ from employer to employer, but for the most part, there's paperwork involved. The process usually takes about 1 to 2 weeks from the time that you hand in your paperwork to the time that you receive the money in hand, and they set up automatic deductions coming out of your paycheck. Rule of thumb for these loans is that you can borrow up to half of what's in your account, up to $50,000. So real quick, if your account is well above $100,000, you can borrow a maximum of $50,000. If your account isn't above $100,000, you can borrow a maximum of half the account value. Now, what I'm going to do today is break down the pros and cons of taking a 401k loan from your retirement account. Now, the first advantage we've kind of already talked about, and that's the speed in which this money can be taken from the account. Again, rule of thumb, probably 2 weeks, but give your employer HR department a call and ask them the exact timing for these loans. Another advantage is that you probably are going to get a lower interest rate from your 401k loan than you would than a traditional loan at a bank or possibly a HELOC or a loan of that nature. This leads me into the interest that's paid back on the loan. The interest on the loan is paid back directly to your account. So if you get a rate of 6-7%, that interest rate goes back directly to your account. Now, the interest is taxed double. It's taxed twice. You're probably asking, how is the interest taxed twice? I don't understand. Again, pay attention to what I'm saying here. The loan is paid back with after-tax money. So the principal of the loan is paid back with after-tax money to replace the pre-tax money that you've taken from the account. And on top of that, the interest is paid back with after-tax money. Now, when you go to retire, that interest that was paid back with after-tax money that's sitting in the account, that's compounding year after year after year, that principal of the interest is taxed double, because now when you pull the money out, so that 8% over the life of the loan that was paid back to the account, when you pull it out again, when you go to retire, it's now taxed again, a second time. Another advantage of taking a loan from your 401k is that you can pay the loan back at any time. Double check with HR just to make sure that they'll let you pay it back at any time. But rule of thumb, most 401k loans allow you to pay it all back in one lump sum at any time. One thing to keep in mind, when you take a loan from your 401k, and if you leave service from that company, the loan is then due usually within 30 or 60 days. Now, because you no longer work there, they can no longer take money out of your paycheck to pay for the loan. So a check has to be cut fairly soon after you leave employment. If you don't pay the loan back after you leave employment, that loan balance is subject to not only taxes, but possibly a 10% early withdrawal penalty. So let's make numbers easy. if there's a $10,000 balance on the loan when you leave service, that $10,000 is then added to your income for the year in which you left service. When you do your taxes, you owe normal taxes on that $10,000. On top of that, potentially and more than likely, you're going to have to pay 10% of that loan value. So in this small example, the $10,000, if your tax rate is 20%, your early withdrawal penalty is 10%, you're going to have to basically cut a check to the IRS for $3,000. The biggest disadvantage of taking a 401k loan out of the account is opportunity cost. And I'm going to try to make numbers easy. However, this calculation can be very difficult. But say you take $50,000 from the account and you set up a loan for 5 years. To get that $50,000 paid to you, what happens is the broker-dealer who runs your account will sell $50,000 of investments. Now, if you go back to your account and you take a look at what the rate of return was over the past 5, 10 years, just say in this example, it averages about 12%. Now, that $50,000 is gone. So you're not making 12% on that $50,000 anymore. And as you pay it back year after year after year, each year you're paying it back, there's a hole in your account that's not receiving compounded interest at a rate of 12% because you have the money in hand. So for the first year, again, you're paying yourself back with the interest. You pay back $10,000. There's a $40,000 hole in the account that potentially isn't making the 12% rate of return that the account made over the past 10 years. So year 2, you paid back $20,000. There's still a $30,000 hole at a rate of potentially 12% compounded interest over the next 3 years. Year 3, you've paid back $30,000. You still have a $20,000 hole that potentially could have been making the 12% return. Again, you're paying yourself back interest, but you're paying it back little by little by little. You're not getting that full 12% return year after year after year after year on the $50,000. Again, it's a hard concept to wrap your brain around. And again, depending on how markets return, and again, we don't know how the markets are going to return over the next 5 years, but potentially the opportunity cost to take this loan can be pretty great. But just keep in mind what you're doing when you take this loan out of the account. You're pulling money out of the account. Potentially that money is not making what the account was making in the past, year after year after year after year after year, until the loan is fully paid back. Please like or subscribe, and have a great day.